this was actually requested, and this is setups for the side kick. A move that's already difficult if you don't know how to do it right. I've seen a lot of people who try to do it, especially in MMA, and it doesn't really land. Some people are better at it. The big problem is that they just sort of throw it. They never seem to really set it up or have the proficiency to land it without setting it up. So here are a ton of setups for the side kick. I've got a 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo here.
Let's not do that.
Okay. Humble nonetheless. All right. Okay, so this is not going to be a tutorial for how to throw a side kick. We'll do something like that later, especially when we have a shield, because that really helps when demonstrating the proper way to learn it with distance and power and speed and all that kind of stuff. So right now, very basic, the most basic way to set up your side kick is throwing it off of angles. A lot of times you'll find yourself on different angles where really the best move is to throw a side kick instead of worrying about having to readjust yourself and continue to fighting in a more orthodox manner. So you never know what's going to happen while you're fighting. Sometimes he ends up blocking and moving off to the side. He's here. The best thing to do here is to throw a side kick from some direction. Here, also, you can create your own angles. So you can go here, side kick from here. Same thing if I go here, side kick from there. There's a lot of different ways to do that. If you end up missing techniques, if you end up whipping, and you end up with your back to the opponent, such as if you miss a roundhouse, same thing. You can find that a side kick works from here, side kick works from here, side kick works from a lot of different directions. Now, one of my favorites is to intentionally miss, especially with the roundhouse. This does take certain strength in your legs, in your hips, to be able to reverse your momentum to go right back into the side kick. A lot of people, if you miss the roundhouse, will try to come in and close the distance immediately afterwards. So if I throw a nice roundhouse and it goes past him, see how he comes in right away? So ideally what I want to do is I want to stop him with the side kick. Here, here, right to the ribs. Or I can go to the face. Oh, sorry, let's make sure it misses. Here, here, okay? Again, takes some dexterity, but nothing that can't be achieved without a little practice. So, with a little practice, excuse me. All right, now, next thing we're going to do is another one of my favorites, and one that Bruce Lee was very fond of, is intercepting with the side kick. This is great if you have a shield. We'll show it more in the future. But essentially, you side kick just as the opponent starts to move forward. So, if he's going to take a step forward, and let's assume he's not going to just take a step forward, but he's going to try to attack. Let's go for just a jab, okay? All he's doing is jabbing here. Now, you need to be fast enough and set in your position so that when he goes to jab, you stop him with the side kick, okay? I'm just going to tap him lightly when he comes to do it. Go ahead. Here, okay? Here. Gotta be fast. One more time. One. Sorry. Okay, whenever you're ready. Here, all right? I don't want to tell him when to go. I want him to go so I can learn when to get ready just by watching him. So we're going to do it again. You just wait and then you go at your own time. Here. Here, okay? Very basic. Now, another way, which I know you're a fan of, is to drive the opponent back and set up the side kick. I'm a big fan of that too. You disguise the side kick, say in a jab, where you step in behind your front leg, and then you come in with the side kick. Especially if you can land that jab or 2 of those jabs. If you can go 1 and then a hook or something like that and step in behind, why don't you take a step back? And he's on the defensive, I'm already set up to come in for the side kick there. So that's one way. Another way is to understand where the boundary is. So if he's against a wall, if he's against a cage, if he's against ropes, and you know it's going to take 2 jabs to put him against there, that's all you got to do to know that he's not going to be able to back away from the side kick. Then his only opportunity is to spin away from it, and people aren't very good at that. Is what we're doing is once I drive him back, he's gone back, he's against some ropes, he's against a wall, against a cage, something like that, he has nowhere else to go. This is a great opportunity to set up the skip, hop in, jump in, shuffle in side kick, the Bruce Lee style side kick that essentially looks like this. There's different levels of emphasis you can put into it when you close the distance. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's say, jab twice, put it back. He's back here. I know he can't go back any further because he's against the wall. I come in, step in that way here. Now, let's assume he spins off. He's good at that. Not everybody is. It's hard enough to block a side kick, let alone spin off properly. So I send him back, and he spins off. So I miss, okay? Where he doesn't even block it, he just moves and spins off, okay? 1, 2, 3. All right? Essentially, you could meet him with the back thrust, turning backside kick, whatever you want to call it. So 1, 2, instead of going in front, I know he's moving this way, meet him over there. Just follow him with it. One more time, a little faster. Here. It's easier to adjust if he's going that way with this kick than it may be, depending on who you are, for the kick off the front. This next one is very traditional Taekwondo way of throwing the side kick that I learned. And that is when your opponent advances forward, you take a hop back or a step back and you land in a chambered position, ready to throw the kick. So essentially it looks like this. I'm here, I step back, I'm in the position, I throw the kick. Kind of works like a rubber band motion. You snap out, your body goes out, you land in a chamber position, and then your kick snaps back in. So he's going to follow me this time so you can see what it looks like when you're actually supposed to hit an opponent. So let's say he chases me with the technique. Here, here, okay? One more time. Here. All right, we're going to do a little smoother so you can see that there's less of a breakdown between each move. Here. Okay? Very basic. Ideally, what you're doing is you're taking advantage of your opponent, committing to that space to coming in, and you're making him think that you're retreating, but in fact what you're doing is you're just backing up enough to set up the kick to throw in order to put it back in its place. You can also do that jumping. He can also do that jumping. Does it better than I do. So he will. I'm not going to do anything. He's just going to do the jump. So show us what that looks like. One more time. 5 more times, just for, okay. All right, I'm going to come forward just a tiny bit because I don't want to go to the hospital. So here he goes. There. Ready? Here. Perfect. Much more powerful, much faster. It requires you to jump while moving backwards in the air, throw the side kick while in the air, and then come back down, hopefully gracefully. All right, another one is side kicking over the leg. If you know the one where he kicks to the inside of the leg, here, and instead you counter by going over with the roundhouse, it's pretty much the opposite. This time, he's kicking with his back leg to the back of my front leg, again. So you know he's going to do this a few times. He's punishing you here, or you just know he's prone to do it after a certain combination. This time, real slow, I'm going to pick up over the leg, and I'm going to side kick. Now there's a very specific way you have to do that. If I just pick up and chamber normally from this distance, there's a good chance he's going to clash with my leg. It's going to throw me off balance. I'm not going to be able to hit him. Try that. Okay? That's difficult. One more time. That's hard to do, especially from this position. So you got to throw the side kick a little differently. You got to cheat. It's got to kind of go up like a front leg raise or a little bit of an axe kick before it goes out. So essentially, I'm going up this way. That way, I have all this space underneath for his leg to clear. Now, I'm going to come over the top by twisting my waist and kicking out here. Okay? Let's try that. Here, here. One more time, just a tiny bit faster. Here. Okay? If we do it any faster, bad things might happen. Okay. All right, so this last one is used actually by setting up punches with your hands first. This is a little difficult because it has to be done a very specific way. But essentially, you're using your hands to disguise the rotation of your hips in order to set up the proper stance to throw your side kick. Traditionally speaking, a side kick needs to be thrown properly from a side stance like this. If you do it squared up, Muay Thai, or Kyokushin style, it's going to be a lot harder. And when you turn sideways in that position, it kind of telegraphs everything and gives it away. We'll give a tutorial on the side kick later when we have a shield. It's easier that way. For now, this is just ways to set it up once you know how to throw it. So, how do we go from this position to the side position? We disguise it with our punches. Jab, cross, and the hook. We pivot and rotate. So we end up in a side position here, almost like a traditional boxer would when he throws a hook. Again, 1, 2, 3. Go sideways. Then we can throw up, pick up, throw the side kick there. One more time. 1, 2, 3, kick. I'll do it on this angle. 1, 2, pivot, kick. Let's bring Chad back in. All right. Now, if I hit him with all 3 punches, 1, 2, 3. And I rotate. There's still no point in doing the side kick. If you're close enough to hit him with the hook, you're too close to hit him with the side kick. I'm going to pick up, I'm going to end up hitting his leg or his hip or something like that. Essentially, this works when you've missed. So you're setting up to miss, hoping that he goes backwards. So even if I hit him with the first two, I miss. Now he's far enough away. Pick up, throw. A little faster. 1, 2, 3. Kick. Okay? I'll do it full speed just for the camera.